In this video, let's have a look at an interesting option called Puppet Warp. You find it in Edit and Puppet Warp. How to create that? This is the effect I have created with Puppet Warp. Now let me close down this group of layers where I have created different bending boxers and set their opacity to create this bouncing effect of this boxer. So let me shut down that group, and these are the original images, and I have created the cutout for these two boxes. And what you need to do is select your model, go to edit and say Puppet Warp. Puppet Warp will give you this kind of mesh, and when you click on some region of image you get these points. These are called bending points, and these bending points will control the bending of this image or warping of this image. So as strong your bending points are set, it will be rigid. So like this one, now you see that this hand and his waist is not moving at all. Similarly, if I set bending points over here and move it like this, I create this funny effect. So if this boxer was punching over here, I can precisely create the cavity created with the punch. So that's how you use Puppet Warp, and that's how you can create some escape to get rid of that mesh and enter to accept your bending or warping. So that's how I created this several different layers and gave the different bending effects to this model. And this is the effect made with the use of Puppet Warp. Similarly, the Puppet Warp can also be used for these kind of images where you see that there is a straight line which is not looking good, and we definitely need to do something about it, and Puppet Warp is a very nice tool. So I can lock the position of the places I don't want any movement or any bending, and I can even get a nice pose of model, and I can also get the wavy effect. I further can fine-tune this with other tools which we are going to look at in a short while in this course. But now let me show you the before and after, and it does not look artificial, or it does not look. However, you have to be very precise and very patient while doing this kind of work. Now the problem with this is that I cannot revert back. If I revert back, I'm losing the nice bend I got with Puppet Warp. So there is a technique to use Puppet Warp, and this is not the right technique unless and until you are in rush, or you're rushing, or you're in hurry. So the proper way of using Puppet Warp is right click on this layer, say convert to smart objects, and now go to edit and say Puppet Warp. And now I'll just do some nonsense kind of work here because I just want to show you the option and don't want to get into creative mode. So this is what I have done with Puppet Warp, and by converting this to smart object, you can hit on this button, or you can say enter. Now the difference is that I can go back to my effect and make the changes in my bending or warping. Again say enter, and if I want, I can get rid of the effect at all. There are very simple options attached to Puppet Warp, and those are starting with modes. We have three modes: rigid, normal and distort. Rigid mode I would use for landscapes, for mountains, for trees, for big animals and buildings or cityscape, whereas I'll use normal in very subtle invisible kind of bending or warping, and distort I'll be using to create caricature kind of stuff or do some very funny kind of manipulation or into abstract art. Now these are the powerful tools for you to create something out of the box, and how you use that, it's up to you. However, let's get back to let me reset this. The next option is density, and density is of the mesh density. We have fewer points for very simple manipulation. If at all I have to just create a curve for this pallu, then I can use very few points. But if I have to do very minute work even on the design, let me take you closer. So if somebody asks me to play around and make the nice flow of this running pattern, then I would use the more points. So those who are into animation, they definitely understand what is a simple mesh and what is a complicated mesh. Expansion is the expansion of the outline of the mesh. Now if I take it outside of the outline of the real object, then it will help me in getting it nicely shaped. I can actually shape it precisely. So in case I have flying hair and I have to create a nice wavy shape, I can use the expansion, and I can go backward as well, which is not suitable for this model's picture, but it could be for landscape or for trees or for bushes and so many other things. We also can switch on and off the mesh view so that we can see the image clearly. Now about the pin depth. Now I'm going to do something very weird and ugly. So I'm going to bend this hand. Now here you also can see the effect of expansion. The default expansion is 2. I see the 2 pixels outline here, and if I say 0, let me see what happens if I say 0. So that's expansion, and this is, I'm bending the hand over the subject, and you can see that it is above, it's in front layer, and it is coming above the subject itself. But if I use the pin depth and if I press this send backwards, the hand can go backwards. So I hope it was very easy to understand. Now, which is probably not suitable example over here, but that is what pin depth is all about. We also have rotation, which so far we are working with the auto rotation of the bend, but we can also use the fixed rotation, and we can give that in numeric format. So I hope you understood what rotation is all about. Puppet warp is used beautifully in portrait retouching to shape up the body, postures and facial features, but it is done so subtly that it is almost invisible, but it creates great impact.